Hi, I'm Amelia and welcome to my channel So Amelia, where I talk all about making a handmade wardrobe for me and my children. This week I am sharing a bit of a chatty sewing catch up from my sewing room. So this week has been sort of the first week I've been able to get my teeth back into some sewing. We were away for a wonderful family break over Easter, and when I came back it took a while to get over the jet lag and to get the children settled back into school and activities, and so I wasn't really able to get up here a lot. But this week I've given myself a couple of days in the sewing room just for a bit of a mental health reset. I do love getting up here. When life gets a bit stressful, it really helps, I find, to get up here and get creative in the sewing room. And I've had a lot of fun just sewing a couple of easy things to get myself back into the sewing groove. And now I have all of the ideas and I can't stop. I thought I would just film a very quick chatty sewing catch up this week to share some of the things I've been making, some of my plans for the next week to come, and something at the end that I have purchased this week as well. So I'll start with what I've been making, and the first thing I made this week actually is hanging up on the mannequin. It's behind this one here, so I'll pop that down for a minute. It is this skirt here. Now this is the By Hand London Jessica skirt. I've made it before, but I'll be honest, I've had a little bit of a journey trying to get the sizing right. It has this beautiful sort of basque waistband which is cut out in 6 pieces and it is fully lined, the waistband. The skirt portion is not. And I absolutely love the look of it. I have got another one made in a Liberty lawn that I wear all the time, but it is a little bit loose, even though I actually went down from my measurements to make that version. So I've gone down again for this version, and I checked the finished garment measurements and everything, and this definitely is small for my waist size. So my waist is 30 inches and I cut the size 10 graded to a 12, I think, and my measurements would put me in, I think, a 14 to 16. And I tried that and it's just too big, and then again I tried the grading the 12 to the 14, that was still a bit big. This is perfect. Now I did have to do a slightly smaller seam allowance for putting in the zip, just to give me a slight bit more room, but it fits my waist perfectly. So I'm so glad to have found the sizing on that pattern that works, because I just think this is such a beautiful pattern, and it is such a good pattern for using up a beautiful fabric. So this is a Liberty lawn that I bought from Showcat on a recent visit with Catherine from Soverton Makery. We went for a lovely catch-up coffee and then a visit to Showcat and browsed all of the lovely Liberty, and I could not resist this piece here. Such a beautiful, vibrant floral, and because Liberty is quite pricey, I wanted to make sure that I made the best use of the fabric. And this skirt, once you've cut out the basque waistband pieces, you can just gather up the whole width of the fabric into the waistband. So I just love that, because you are left with minimal waist at the end and a beautiful skirt as well. I have not taken photos of this one yet, but hopefully I'll have pictures to pop in here so that you can see what it looks like on. It's such a lovely, floaty, breezy skirt. I love wearing my other one through the spring and the summer, and I'm sure this one will get a lot of wear as well. So that's the By Hand London Jessica skirt. Comes together really quickly. It's just closed at the side here with an invisible zip, and I really love sewing that one up. So that really helped me to just get back into the sewing room, and sewing up a beautiful fabric always makes one feel very cheery, I think. The next thing that I made was a new pattern company to me, and it is Oh Me Oh My Sewing. My sister-in-law actually recommended this pattern company to me. She has sewn some of their clothes, I think, for herself and for her daughter. And so when we were browsing the website in New Zealand, I came across this pattern, which is called the Daisy Dress, and I just fell in love. I think it's the back actually of it that really got me. I've seen some of these in ready-to-wear stores and loved them, and now I can make my own version. So it's got this elastic across the bottom and then the open back with this bow sort of tie at the back, which just looks so sweet. Now my daughter is 4. She's not big for her age, but I did size up to the age 5 to 6, which is actually the top size this pattern comes in, which is sad. It is a little big on her though, especially across the bodice, but that's fine. The elastic isn't stretched out at all, so she's certainly got a lot of growing room in this dress, and it does have a lovely deep hem, so I can even let it out if it becomes too short for her, or I don't think it will though. I think we'll get a good couple of summers out of this dress. I have to say, the Oh Me Oh My instructions were fantastic. There was a lot of detailed information at the beginning, so if you're a beginner sewist, I can highly recommend this pattern company. There were a lot of explanations about different sewing terms and how to do certain techniques, and it was just such a pleasure to follow the instructions and sew up this dress. It came together beautifully. Now the fabric I bought in New Zealand on our recent trip there. I couldn't resist it. It is a beautiful New Zealand bird print with some native flora and fauna on it as well. And my daughter loves picking out the different birds and talking about them and their different features and characteristics, which is really sweet. And I bought it from a shop called Sew & Co, which is a Christchurch based shop. It had the most beautiful selection of fabrics and patterns and kits and tutorials, and I couldn't resist this fabric. I actually bought another bird print fabric very similar to this one by the same designer for myself, so that's on the list of things that I want to make up soon, is a skirt for myself in a very similar bird print. But I love that one. It's going to be a great one for her for the spring and the summer. She's already worn it and absolutely loved twirling about in that yesterday, so I know that one's going to get a lot of wear over the next few months. Well, I have a couple of plans. Now the first thing is I was very kindly gifted a pattern called the Sylvie skirt by Cinnamon Daisy Pattern Studio. It's a beautiful skirt. I seem to be in my skirt era right now, but I do love this one. It is a circle skirt, but it's made up of quite a few different panels, and it has this beautiful bow detail at the front. So just a beautiful, beautiful pattern. It has a waistband that is flat at the front, and then it is elasticated at the back, and it comes in two different lengths. One is above the knee, so a mini length, and then there is this more sort of ankle length, mid-axi skirt length. Now I think that's the one I'm going to go for. This one is definitely too short for me to feel comfortable in, although it does look gorgeous on all of the Instagram photos of people who've made it at that length. But especially for running around after the children in the summer and being on and off the bike, I'm not sure that's the length for me, but I am going to try this sort of mid-axi length. And I'm going to use a beautiful fabric that I picked up from a swaps table when I went to a sewing meetup around Christmas time, I think. And it is this beautiful black fabric here. Now I'm not usually into black. I do love my bright and colourful fabrics, but this has such a beautiful movement to it that I think it would look beautiful in that circle skirt. It would have a lot of swish and a lot of drape. I have a funny feeling it's going to be a wee bit tricky to sew with because it's quite shifty. I can't remember what the composition of it was. It feels like a viscose fabric, but really, really lovely, and it will go really beautifully with a lot of my blouses and tops, especially in a plain black colour. So I've got plenty of that from the swaps table actually, so I think I should get that panelled skirt out of it. I had some beautiful patterned fabric that I wanted to use for that, but because it uses up quite a lot of fabric with the different panels, I couldn't use a directional fabric, or I just would not have enough fabric to get all those panels out. So I've decided to try it with that fabric that I've got in my stash, which I think will be a really practical skirt to add to my wardrobe, and I can't wait to swish around in that soon. So that's next on the sewing plans list of things to make. The other thing I want to make a start on, possibly next week if I have time, is my Thea trousers in this beautiful denim that I also bought on my recent trip to New Zealand from Draper's Fabrics. I think this will make a beautiful pair of cropped Thea trousers. I love the pair I made in the denim. They were a bit of a toile because the fit is almost perfect. I made, I believe, a size 4 at the waist graded to a 5 at the hip. I did then let the seam out over the hip a little bit, and I had to take a bit out of the crotch curve as well. So I'll make those changes to my pattern pieces for this version, but my toile is perfectly wearable and I have worn those jeans a lot. So I'm looking forward to getting a summery cropped pair of Thea trousers out of this denim fabric. So that is also next on my sewing list, is the Sylvie skirt and the Thea trousers. I realised in my last video I said I had bought enough to last me a long time, and I have, but I couldn't resist this book, which came out last week I believe, and it is the new Tilly and the Buttons mini makes book. Now I do have quite a few patterns for my children, but I don't have that many for my boys. I actually rely a lot on a few fantastic free patterns for my boys, but I would like to widen my repertoire of sewing patterns, particularly for them. But I did love particularly the indigo dress for little girls as well. I love this version that's on the cover actually with the pin tucks. So my daughter did see this version of the indigo dress with the pin tucks and she thought it was beautiful. So I think I will start on this project first from the book. My boys would both quite like some t-shirts and some sweatshirts, but I don't really have any appropriate fabric for them at the moment. So I need to sort of think on that one for a little bit, but I can definitely get started on the indigo dress for my daughter. Now the only thing she has requested is puffed sleeves instead of these just simple short sleeves here. So I think I should be able to do that. I know that the adult indigo pattern has an add-on for puff sleeves, and I certainly have a few patterns in my stash that have beautiful puffed sleeves. So I'm just going to take one of those pieces and pop it into the indigo dress. And I have actually started this one. So here it is, very, very beginning stages. This is the bodice. Now this is a beautiful fabric with pomegranates on it. I think it's called Odyssey is the name of the fabric. We saw it in a different colorway in Shaukat and I just loved it so much. So then I went on a bit of a hunt on the internet to see if I could find the fabric, and I found it in this colorway, which wasn't the original one that we saw, but I still love it, and my daughter loves purple, so I think it will be perfect. And I believe I ended up buying this one from So Me Sunshine, although we did first see it, like I say, at Shaukat. They just didn't have any left. So this is the fabric here. It's got gorgeous wee pomegranates on it and purple and pink flowers, and this is just the very simple indigo bodice as far as I've got, with buttonholes on the back and everything. So I need to add puffed sleeves to that, and then I need to work on the skirt, and I'm going to have a go at using my pin tuck foot on my faff machine. I did buy that because I wanted to try doing one of those tiny pin tuck skirts. I've seen an inspo picture over on Instagram. I'd love to make one of those skirts with like the 1,000 pin tucks on it. I think Horror Vacui Munich has the most beautiful skirt with all of those pin tucks. So I thought I would start small and try a few pin tucks on my daughter's dress first. So they will be smaller than the ones in Tilly's book, but I'd like to give them a try on this dress first. So that's kind of a work in progress, I guess, rather than a plan, but it came out of this purchase that I made this week. There are so many fantastic patterns in here. My son actually was very inspired by one of the patterns at the back, which is for a little soft toy, a bedtime buddy, this one here. How cute is that? He wants to make that as a gift, a Christmas gift for one of our family members, which is very sweet. So I'm looking forward to working on that with him, probably over the summer holidays when he has a bit more time. Yeah, the children had a great time looking through the book and choosing a few patterns that they liked for themselves. I have to say, I think my favorite pattern in the whole book has to be this sunny jacket here. I think that is just gorgeous. And I would love to make that for my boys, perhaps for the summer. We'll just see. I don't have any fabric for that at the moment, but I definitely love that pattern. I love the version for the girls as well, or the other version with the ruffles around the collar. Too many beautiful patterns, so I couldn't resist getting that one. And I think because it's got such a fantastic age range, I think it goes from 3 up until 12, so a great age range. And in fact, some of the ones like the Tabitha t-shirt do have smaller versions that you can wear, and they've got popper closures here on the shoulder instead of the neckband piece. So, and as ever, fabulous instructions from Tilly. They really hold your hand through the pattern, and every pattern has several different ways of making it, so it makes it really, really versatile. So although you may only have 5 or 6 patterns, there are again 2 or 3 ways you can make each one. So such a great book, and I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into that. So I do hope you enjoyed watching this video. I'm looking forward to coming back again next week and sharing some more inspiration with you for some of my favorite patterns for the summer months ahead. And until then, I hope you have a lovely week ahead full of lots of happy sewing. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!